Now, MDGs is a new introduction, a new concept. Principally, it was presented by Colombia with another country. But in real terms, it came from EU, European Union. And the idea behind the SDGs, which is Sustainable Development Goals, is that they believe that the world has come to a stand where every country should start having commitment, where developed countries should do things for themselves without any expectations from developed countries. In that case, if we come out with SDGs right now, the tendency is that SDGs will terminate MDGs. That's why we, in principle, agree that there will be SDGs, but it must be to address any gap in MDGs, not only to begin to create a parallel process. And in MDGs, if you notice, you found that in spite of its shortcomings, it has been the most successful global initiative that touches at the heart of major sectors: poverty eradication, employment, resource mobilization, just desertification, land degradation, and so forth. So what we have done in this meeting is to set up an intergovernmental process to elaborate on SDGs and to turn in the reports in 2014 to the General Assembly. The idea is that since MDGs we finish in 2015, so that MDGs will not come into being before that. And then the MDGs review will start next year, 2013. And principally, the review will run into 2014 or 2015. The idea is that there must be a link or alignment between MDGs and SDGs, so that there won't be a totally new process. And then, so that all commitments that must have been made under MDGs will not disappear. There must be a link. It is true, the global economy has gone down. It is also true that some countries in developing countries are doing better, but there are very, very few countries. Majority of African countries, 33 are LDCs, in which case there must be responsibilities of the international community to these countries. Because number one, more than 80% of world economy are controlled by just very few countries. And for that reason, they have responsibilities to contribute, either in cleaning the pollution which they contributed to, or in sponsoring capacity building and development of technology and capacity, so that other countries will come up to certain limits. So in effect, Nigeria, in principle, supports SDGs, but only to come in the review after MDGs, and not to replace MDGs, but to align with MDGs in addressing the gaps that will be in MDGs.
Okay, thank you very much, sir. What about the concept of green economy?
Green economy, totally a new concept. It means so many things, but it means how
Nigeria.
Yes, it means how to produce in an environmentally friendly, with environment-friendly technology. To that extent, it will require total transformation of Nigeria economic, social, and political development. So in effect, to do this at a short time will be too overwhelming for Nigeria. The money required to do it is massive. So it requires having a gradual system of movement. In the outcome document, Nigeria supported with other developing countries that the green economy is a tool. In other words, it's one of the tools. And that it will be according to countries' priorities. So there will be no imposition, there will be no mandate, there will be no target. And that as time goes on, we can then be able to come into it. And of course, the green economy is supposed to address poverty eradication is supposed to address most of the things sustainable development are addressing. But the only thing is to slant it towards environmentally friendly condition. But we must recognize one thing. Green economy, in being brutal, frank, is about mitigation. Do we want to mitigate in Africa? In Nigeria? Yes. But you must have capacity before you mitigate. If you don't have capacity, you cannot mitigate. So we expect that while we are ready to go move towards mitigation, that assistance should be given in order to help empower the local conditions so that they will be able to participate in this. So, more or less.
In terms of that assistance, are you satisfied with, would you say there are specific outcomes, with regards, to
assistance?
Assistance.
Frankly speaking, even previously, there is never any specific commitment, only one, and that is official development assistance. This came out of 1995 Paris agreement, where the developed countries by themselves agreed to give 0.07% of their GDP. But only Nordic countries have met this 0.7%. All other countries don't even reach 0.02. So developed countries are saying right now that the only thing they can give is that ODA, that any additional resources, no. They are believing that their economies are down. They are believing that developed countries have come of age. But we challenge them. How can they compare themselves with these developed countries in Africa? Even African countries that are doing well are limited. And even globally, if you remove China, remove South Africa, remove Brazil, remove one or two other countries, all others are below par. The economies are not really doing very well. And even though the economies are not doing very well right now, but they still control 80% of world economy. And we are not talking about now, we are talking about the future. And if you don't address the future now, you cannot get it tomorrow. So in effect, what we have now is a framework of mobilizing the resources. It is not on paper right now, but an intergovernmental process has been set up in order that after this meeting, they continue in the group, in the General Assembly. They'll set up 30-man steering committee in order to address how to mobilize resources. And this 30-man committee will submit reports to the General Assembly in order then to develop the framework of implementation.
Okay, I also want your views on the strengthening of the UNEP. Do you think it's far-reaching enough?
Can I do this?
The UNEP, in our own feeling, is an organization we want to empower and strengthen as a country. But at the same time, we believe that what you do in negotiations is to get gradual movement. You know, when you talk about with so many people, they think that immediately you come and you want A, B, C, D. That if you don't get A, B, C, D, you have not anything. But this meeting has agreed that UNEP would have universal membership of the Governing Council, which is a very powerful weapon. About even other things that were laid out are so many. But I know that people are always talking only about specialized agencies. But these things will come later. It's not something that will happen at a go.
So you would say there are benefits in this outcome for Nigeria?
There's benefit overall. Please, thank you very much.
Thank you very much, sir.